Hey good people, Batavia here. We have a December garden tour. Can you believe it? Yeah, we're here. See you in a few. Okay, so quick housekeeping items. Thank yous to those who like, watch, comment, subscribe, and share Be Better Garden. We appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, consider it. There's a button below. And if you do, hit the notification bell so you're alerted each time I share more #Garden Joy. So I found the one sunny spot in the garden. We're in mid-December and things are still sustaining themselves. In a couple of cases, things are growing. So we're going to walk through what the garden looks like and talk about what my plans are for the rest of the month as we head into winter. Alrighty, so the fun and fast facts. I am in zone 6A in Chicago in particular, and our temperatures have been dropping. We've long past experienced our first frost end of October, and then since then we've had some warmer days. Today is one of them. We reached like 50 degrees today, but we've consistently had temps in the 20s. So nighttime temps are looking like 20 something, as low as like 25 so far, and then daytime temps somewhere between 20-ish, more like 30, maybe even 40 degrees. So anyway, we've, I guess, gone from 25 degrees all the way up to 50 degrees over the last month and a half. So what's happened is most of these are cold tolerant, and there's been some drooping, if you will, once those cold temps hit. So I'm going to harvest all of these leaves out and then clear this entire bed to get it prepped for next year. So that's that. Next up is this bed has been just holding tight. My lacinato kale has been eaten up quite a bit, the dinosaur kale. So I'm probably just going to cut off what's been eaten and salvage just a few of the leaves. The chard is beautiful still. This is the ruby red. And these were direct sowed like going back to June or July. And this is the Fort Hook, which is one of my favorites. I mentioned before, chard has your typical chard, the ruby red typical chard flavor, like that earthiness, where the Fort Hook, giant Fort Hook chard doesn't. Same thing here. It's not exactly as mild as lettuce, but definitely not as earthy, if you will, as your typical chard. Rosemary plant, and I think I forgot to mention this most of the summer. This was planted in 2019, did well, basically was overwintered and has sprung back up, and this has done well with the temperature as well. So I moved this claytonia. It's in a container, if you can see, and I moved it into this bed. This is uber cold tolerant from what I've read. It's my first year growing it. I'm just adding it to salad greens. I think it would withstand the entire winter. I do notice when the temps drop really low into the 20s, it does droop like many of the leafy greens. But again, a day like today, it perks back up. I'm moving it into this raised bed because my intention is to cover this raised bed with plastic. And while the claytonia will survive, I'm pretty certain the temperatures, it's not as easy and not recommended to harvest when you have that drooping, when things are kind of recovering from, you know, the freeze or the frost. A couple of other notes. I have some kale that I transplanted back in September, and this kale, compared to the kale I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes, night and day as far as a difference. I actually have a bit of aphid damage from before the weather started to get to freezing on this plant and a couple of others. If you can see down there, there's even where the kale was being eaten up. And my guess is if I leave it as is, the roots are still intact. We'll probably see that come back next spring. A couple of spinach plants. I had the worst luck with spinach this year. All right, so that's this bed. Let's go over the lettuce and then we'll uncover our surprise here. This is arugula, which is so easy to grow, but I could probably take it or leave it. It's really earthy. This is the Marvel lettuce. I'll put the name up. Hey, Cher. This is the, oh, she's gonna do that. It's fine, I'm here, I'm okay. Thanks for checking on me. So this is the super red romaine, and this is the Paris Island romaine lettuce. And this was started in July indoors, transplanted in September, and it has like just thrived. It's cold tolerant. The packaging notes that, and it has just, it's barely wilted really. All of these lettuces here. So I am checking my seed vault to make sure that I have seeds that will carry me through, because I'm definitely going to continue to grow this kind of coming into the fall, heading into winter, as well as in the spring. All right, so last bed we want to show, we've grown a couple of different things in this bed this summer, but let me take the plastic off and we'll chat about it. Oh, just a quick note, this is 6mm plastic. This is not enough to get me through Chicago winters. I'll probably need one more layer, but for the temps now, kind of in the 20s at the lowest point, this has been fine. I have them on the low tunnels, the PVC pipes. We'll put a link to a video where I built these, and then I use these spring clamps. I use these when I cover my garden beds with tulle, like in the summer, spring and summer, but also for covering or clamping down the plastic. And I get these from like your regular hardware store. Alrighty, so if you remember from container gardening tours, this is finally kale. Finally this year, kale in my garden. I'm just so happy about this. I had the worst luck starting kale back in the spring, didn't have it throughout the summer, gave it another try indoors back in July. Also transplanted these in September into these containers. Really key, I kept these covered with tulle fabric all fall basically. So until we got our first frost, I don't think I even took it off until like mid-October. So remember the other kale that I showed you in that raised bed over there, they were planted at the same time. So the difference between the two, that never got off to a good start. This had been protected and has continued to do well. There's even some new growth here. And then these, gosh, I'm settling on these being, I don't know, I've said different things different times. I think these are mustards. Yeah, that's what we're going with. But I feel like I don't have this package of seeds. But whatever. We're going with them being mustards. They aren't, you can see some damage from the colder temps for some of the leaves. But mostly you have some really healthy leaves. Now the reason I put them inside of this raised bed, which I worked up in preparation for next year, is because I wanted to easily cover it with the plastic you saw on it. And I wanted to do that because while this definitely is cold tolerant, I saw it, you know, basically completely droop down, come back to life if you will. It's not easy to harvest, and again, not recommended to harvest when the leaves aren't, you know, ready to spring like that. So I wanted to be able to, when I want, come out here, grab some kale and enjoy it. So I don't know how long I'll be able to keep these plants in this space, but I'm pushing the envelope. We're in December harvesting kale and other things, which is like a dream come true for me. I'm pushing the envelope and hoping I can get to January. We shall see. Again, my intention is to add at least one more layer of plastic once we get into the place where our temperatures drop into the teens. It's not if, it's only a matter of, you know, when. And yeah, I'm hoping to be able to retain these. If not, you know, getting to December has been a great accomplishment for me in my garden space, and I'm super happy with that. Okie doke. So thanks for spending some time with me. I appreciate you. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, feel free to drop them below, and I shall see you all on the next one.